Welcome back to the crossover with Joe Arlauckas. This is my final edition of 2022. What a season it's been. Absolutely incredible. And most people, I guess, would probably think at this stage of the game, I'd have on some guy named Shane Larkin, or I'd have some Vasilis Micic, or one of these guys that won the European title. But I said no. I said, I don't want none of those guys. I need a big man on my show. I need a big 7-footer. And I got him. 7'3", 2 meters, 21 centimeters. Tibor Pleiss, my man. Welcome to the crossover. Such a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.
You know I'm a big man at heart. All these little guys drive me crazy. So, it's always nice to have a big boy on the show.
There are enough guards around, who are stealing me the show. So I'm happy to be here, and that's that you showed up. It's great. Thank you for having me again.
I've been trying to do this for like the last couple of years, but you've always had this like kind of fly below the radar type thing, even though your size and your energy and everything you've done, but your season's been, we'll get into a little bit more with Efes, have been so like kind of up and down, and then I saw you playing that final game. I'm like, man, he busted out, although you've done it so many times during various parts of the season. And I want to go back, I guess, to the beginning of when this all started. How tall were you like in the beginning? I hate these questions. I hate them, but I think in this scenario, it's important. How tall were you when you were young? Were you like that much taller than all the rest of the people?
You mean like when I started playing basketball?
Yeah, like as you were growing up. Like was it
wow.
because you're extremely agile for a big boy. You see a lot more big guys more agile now than they were like back when I played. You, Tavares, you see these guys that move differently. Was your height growth span gradual? Did it all happen at once?
Actually not. Like for me, it was always until I was 10 years old. I was always like, of course, like one of the taller ones in my class. But it was not that I was like head taller than everybody else. Actually, it started when I was like 13, 14, 15. Then I really I made some big steps. But yeah, when I was playing basketball, right away I played on the center position, but I was not really like taller than everybody else that came later.
And what about like the size? It seems like you've grown a little bit over the years also, watching you grow but because you almost have to when you're playing against guys like Tavares and these guys that I mean, they're big bodies in the middle. Have you done anything special to try to get yourself to get stronger, bigger, quicker?
I mean, of course, like over the years, I got more professional. I'm in this job now since like as a professional basketball since almost like 16 years. So of course, like you get used to it, playing against bigger guys. And actually, I was kind of like lucky that I started shooting pretty early. Like I started already working on my shot when I was a young kid. And I think this is sometimes making the difference because of course, like when somebody's taller than you, it's not that easy. You saw like in the Final Four that it's not easy when Tavares is under the basket or fall. So, but in the end, the shot made the difference. And of course, the experience. I mean, 16 years in this job, I played against so many different type of players. So, I got used to it.
Take me back to like family how many, you have brothers and sisters?
I don't.
You're an only child.
That's why I'm so tall. I never had to share my food. I'm the only one.
Those are your parents on the floor when you won the championship, right? I'm assuming
they were there. Yeah. So proud and happy. Yeah.
I could just imagine. and being an only child is, I mean, your parents when you're growing up, it's ridiculous how much I think back and what my parents did for me and the sacrifice that until we actually have kids and they grow up, we're never going to realize, well, I do now, but you never really realize everything that they've really done for you. What did they do for you other than take you to practice here and there and whatever? What else have they done for you as being.
Actually, I totally agree, like to 100%. Actually, like in the last couple of years, we had where everybody had some time to think about everything. It came up to me because they drove me like to so many tournaments.
Right.
They sacrificed that they didn't went to any vacations, so they made it possible for me to go to some basketball camps. I mean, they didn't they didn't went for holidays, I think like for 10 or 15 years, because they tried to make everything possible for me so I could live my dream. And they're supporting me from the first second. Like in the past, from the beginning when I started playing basketball, they helped me that I were like able to do school and basketball to the same time. Like sometimes I had like games in the middle of the week when I start playing EuroCup or EuroLeague. Actually, I didn't play it, but I was traveling with the team when I was already 17. So they helped me doing like the homework, all the school stuff, and basketball to the same time. And that's something I really appreciate. I mean, they told me like from the first second, like school is the most important thing. Then is basketball coming, but they managed that both were possible, and that I'm here right now.
You know, it's amazing because I always say that I wasn't brought up in a poor family. My parents didn't have a lot of money. My father was like the milkman and the janitor.
Same.
And you know, I never realized that when he used to come up and visit me in my college games, and he'd come and watch the games, and they would drive through snowstorms. I mean, I'd be like, Dad, please don't come to the game today. Please don't come. I don't want anything to happen. And you know, and he'd hand me that like $20 bill, and I didn't realize, I think until I was in my mid-20s, that was probably the last $20 bill he had for the week. You know what I mean? And that's where you realize the sacrifice that the parents give you, not only emotionally and physically, but also financially sometimes, because a lot of
same. My dad had like 2-3 jobs sometimes.
Right.
Like he was like working during the night for the post office. Then like the day he did something else, and on the weekend he drove me to the away games.
Right.
So like all, like not just me, like but some other kids, that we could go to some away games. If not, we were not able to go and play somewhere else and doing our like our hobby. So like my dad did the same thing, and I really appreciate it. Like my dad was like the guy who drove me everywhere, and my mom did care of like all the homework, and I got some good food.
That's good. That's good teamwork right there. That's good. That's great.
Yeah,
teamwork.
Definitely. We're the best team in the world.
I remember when I finally had the opportunity, man, I bought my parents this little small like townhouse, and my dad was like, because they lived in the city, and like, the house used to get robbed every now and then, and they just lived in a really, really tough neighborhood. And I bought them this house, and my dad's like, no, I'm not moving. I'm like, Dad, you're moving. He's like, no. He's like, absolutely not. He's like, and because of the way he was brought up, he didn't understand what it was like to be a professional basketball player. I'm like, Dad, I don't care what you do. You're moving into this new house, And while he's arguing me with his pride, my mom was in the back already packing up her suitcase. She's like,
we are moving. We are out of here.
You can stay here if you want. I'm going to the new house. But
that's cool.
It's amazing what your parents have done, and to see them at the end of the game the other day, and it's got to be so thrilling for them to make everything still worth it,
Yeah, it was really emotional. I mean, like last year, we won the Final Four in my hometown, what was already like really special, but we didn't have fans. We were allowed to bring like 1 or 2 persons, so my parents were like somewhere up there. I didn't even see their face because they were like too far away.
Right.
And I didn't really have a chance to hug them, to celebrate them. But this year, even because my world was even more important than last year, it was so special. Like my mom had tears in her eyes. My dad was like close to it. He tried to keep everything together, but that was like
amazing.
One of the best moments ever.
Talked about after you played at Brose for a while. I'm sure that's where you probably did some EuroLeague stuff, right? When you're traveling with the team.
Actually, I had like 1 year before when I was in Cologne, but I was just traveling with the team. That's why this season doesn't count. I was on the bench sometimes. I saw already like Sofo playing there, but and I was like kind of like scared stepping on the court.
It doesn't count. Like statistically, it's not supposed to count. You should get rid of those, or what?
Because I didn't have any second on the court. That's why I didn't count. I was traveling. I mean.
You didn't play
No,
at all, but you practiced with the team and traveled.
I was 17 years old. I was traveling from time to time. I mean, I was still went to school, but I remember that I was in Paris to that time. I was in Greece when we played against Olympiacos. But I enjoyed like everything in the first row.
So, but how much? How I mean, because I don't get to talk to many players that have gone through that. How much do you think that that helped you in your preparation to become a EuroLeague player? Do you think like sitting there, like you said, that you, of course, I've sat on the bench before. We always talk about, hey man, I got the best seat in the house at least, you know. But but I mean, going to games like Olympiacos, Panathinaikos, seeing that tension before you actually have to actually play in the game, did that help you prepare mentally for what's to come, or what I guess at
Mm.
that point you were thinking what I hope is to come.
I don't know if it really prepared me playing a game, but it helped me like to see like behind the scene like how everything is working, like flying somewhere, being in the hotel, taking care of your stuff, building up a routine. I mean, I traveled before already, like I played in the German league, but that was different. I mean,
Right.
we just drove everywhere by bus, but then we flew somewhere, so it was like was different. I mean, of course, I learned a lot from my teammates as well, how everything was going on. So yeah,
And going back to the only child thing, when you picked up and left Bamberg, you went to Spain, right? You,
I went left to
that,
Spain, yeah, to
that was your
Baskonia.
first. That was your first real experience to Basconia outside of Germany.
Right, right.
Was that difficult on your parents? Was it difficult? I mean, obviously, it's always difficult on us when you go change a different culture and your first time out. Because at that point, where you were 20, 21,
I was 21, yeah.
21, right? So
I was pretty like my parents were really relaxed. For me, of course, like was really exciting. But I left already home with 16. With 16, I went to boarding school,
mhm.
boarding school.
Yeah, boarding school.
In the same town. But before, for example, like when I was young, when I started playing basketball, I had school and I drove always with the train like around like 1.5 hours to practice. So it was like always 1.5 hours to practice. Like while I was in the train, I did my homework. Then on the way back, sometimes my dad picked me up after his work, went home and went to work again. So we
It was
tried to manage everything.
an hour and a half back and forth to practice.
I mean, like back was sometimes easier because my dad picked me up with his car.
Right.
But when I went to practice, I lived a little bit like further away. I drove like 40 minutes by train to the main train station. Had to wait for a train, and then I had to drive again. Like took a train again like for another 20 minutes, and I had to walk to the practice facility. That was like my rhythm. I still remember that I learned some vocabularies for my Latin class in the next day, and yeah. But then I went to the boarding school, and then it was just like 10 minutes by bicycle, and that changed a lot.
I love hearing the different stories and the dedication of what it takes to become a professional athlete, because a lot of people don't realize that it's so easy to burn out and to say, you know what, and take the easy way out, because the easy way out's always that's what it is. It's the easy way out, and it would have been easy for you to say, I'm done doing this hour and a half every day,
Yeah.
20-minute drive, 40 minutes this. My parents have to do this. I have to study. I have to. It's so difficult, all that it takes for you to get to where you are. And
I mean, I had two times a situation when I was playing for the young teams where I was thinking about quitting with basketball because, I mean, it was not when I started playing professional, not with 16, but when I was 14, 15, I had, like, I was practice. I think it was like under 14 or under 15, doesn't matter. And I was the same thing, like, I drove like 1.5 hours to practice. But I didn't play it at all. I was like traveling with the team. I was like, I think, one of the best scorers in the team, but I had like really like less playing time than anybody else. And I had this moment where I was thinking like, is this like all worth? My coach told me, so that time I went to him. Of course, I tried to find a conversation. He told me like, hey, yeah, your time is coming like in 2 years. Just calm down. I said like, hey, I'm young. I have to play right now. I need to play basketball like to keep this love. But the thing is, I was never like really a guy who quit. So I fight it myself through. But I had these moments as well. And what I found out in the last, like really like in the last 2-3 years, I was thinking a lot about my past, and I had a feeling really if you want to become a basketball player, it's just like full of sacrifices, like not spending so much time with your family, not spending so much time with your friends, and yeah, that you have to put the whole focus on the thing you like, and yeah, on your goals and your dreams.
It's almost like when I listen to you say that, I realize it because I did it, and I
Yeah.
realize it because I've seen so many other people do it. But it sounds sad, you know. It's like it's it really, you know. But I think back to all the people that used to be like, oh, look at this guy. He's not going to go to the party tonight because he's got a game.
Yeah, God,
What an
so many
idiot.
times.
Or, you know, he's not going to go. He's not going to go on a class trip because he's got to practice. You know, and we were idiots back then when it was happening. We felt bad about it, but it all worked out in the long run.
Hey, I never had time off. Like really, like what do you say? Like my friends told me like, hey, we go to a party. You know, there's a party on the weekend, and I said like, hey, sorry guys, but I have to do my homework, and then on the weekend I have games. There's no chance. So they were kind of like they stopped asking me like after a few months of doing it, but yeah, I mean, in the end it worked out. I did the right thing.
What were your first foreign experience like between Baskonia and then I mean we'll jump into your quick NBA thing, but the you know in Turkey, then Valencia. What I mean, to me it's so much easier now than it used to be because the team is basically based around English. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so when you go from one country to another country, you don't have one translator translating what the coaches are saying. Is what I
Yeah.
used to have, you know, and usually the translator would never really say what the coach said because he really wants you to know what the coach is saying. But was it hard for you to move away from home, or did you find that it became easier because now you're playing at this professional level and you know you weren't an hour and 40 minutes to one day, you know, back and forth to another place?
No, I would say it was not easy, but I thought like I was ready for the challenge. I told myself now it's time, I can go. I mean, it was my first time like in a different country where not everybody spoke my language,
Right.
and of course like my English was good, but not like on the level right now. But I just remember that when I came my first time to practice, and in Spain, it's most of the time that the practice is just in Spanish.
Right.
And of course, like you have some translators, but when the practice is starting, the translators are not running with you next to you up and down. So sometimes to beginning, I was just following like the signals, like when somebody was like pointing here, pointing there, I was just try to understand everything. But then of course like over the season you learn some Spanish. I took some Spanish classes to begin as well. I had the motivation to learn Spanish, but then over the season when we start playing EuroLeague and we had two games per week, then it got like a little bit difficult.
Who kind of took you in Baskonia? Who kind of took you under the wing and said, "Hey, man, just follow me"? What player was it?
Actually, I came together with Fabian Causer. So we came to the same time. We had the medical check together. So that was like, I think the first person I had contact to from my new team. But there were a lot. Like actually, we had a really good team chemistry over the 2 years. I had Devin von Ostrom, who came later, a British guy. And we did something like besides the court, but in general, like all my teammates, like we did lots together. I remember that sometimes when we had a day off or half day off, I went with them to San Sebastian for having like lunch or dinner. So we spent a lot of time together. They took care of me. Everybody felt comfortable, so it was cool.
Fab's not a bad guy to be hanging out with.
No, he's a cool guy.
He probably took you to Dolomiti the whole time. He said that's his favorite restaurant.
Probably. I've been there a few times.
Yeah, we've all been to that restaurant. I mean, along with all of them in Victoria, because the food's so incredible. It's hard.
Hey, God, the steak, God, Juleton, my favorite. Yeah.
I can never understand why like certain places have better food than others. other places. Like you're getting to meet from the same place most of the time, but I guess it's the way they prepare it.
Yeah, right.
Talk to me a little bit about your NBA stint.
Okay.
You, your NBA stint's kind of like mine. There's not that much to talk about, but
That's true.
what
But a
was
part
the
of
experience
my
like?
career, huh?
What
Yeah.
what, what was the experience like for you? What did you take from it? You know, because I mean, no matter what, my philosophy is good or bad, whatever happens for a reason, and you have to take the positive from it and build from that. And sometimes that's hard for people to do. It's a lot easier for athletes to do, even though you struggle in that situation. Was it your dream to be in the NBA at all?
It was my dream trying it out. Like
Okay.
if I fit there, of course. Like before, I was always a European basketball player, but when I was a child, of course, like you saw all the highlights, the NBA highlights,
Right.
the All-Star games, the playoffs. I mean, I was not really a guy who stood up like in the morning and watched all the NBA games, but I saw some highlights. And I have to tell you, like really, like overall, it was an experience for sure. I mean, a dream came true. I played like even like in my first game, there's like one story. Actually, it was like in the preseason, and we were on Hawaii, and we had some preseason games against the Lakers, and that was my first basket I took. It was like a dunk on somebody. I don't remember anymore on which player I dunked.
Come
But
on.
it was just like no, really. I have to check it. But it doesn't matter. I dunked on somebody. I just was like celebrating, emotional. Went down with my arm, hit the ball, and the ball went into the bench of the Lakers, and I got a technical foul. And it was like my first basket out there. It was just like a funny situation. That was my first basket.
Welcome to the league, the big German.
Yeah, right. That's what everybody said. Everyone was like hyped. Then I got a technical foul, and everyone was like just laughing. But say like, hey, anyways, you did it. Like that was like you're introducing yourself to the game. But then the rest of the season, I would say, like was maybe like the most frustrations time of my career so far, because I mean I love playing basketball. If I wouldn't love playing basketball, running around, doing my thing, I wouldn't do it probably anymore. But in the past, NBA is different. Like in December, you stop practicing. You're just like warming yourself up a little bit. You do some stretching exercises. You get a massage. You do some weightlifting, but that's it. You don't do anything with the team anymore. And then I was practicing from time to time. But then like an assistant coach came to me and said like, hey, can you please like stay on the side and just watch? Please let the guys who are really playing doing their practice. And I was like, okay, why not? So after practice, I was like running down because I'm up and down because I'm a guy, I want to stay in shape. I want to be ready. I mean, I wanted to, make my dream come true, being an NBA player. Then it started like, for example, in the game, I was to begin on the bench. Then I was like behind the bench, and then I was sometimes in the locker room, just hearing the sound of the game. Like my teammates were playing outside, and I just heard the scream, people screaming, and the basketball bouncing up and down, and that was everything. So somebody took this fun, from me, like being a basketball player. Then I went to the D-League like for a few weeks, and this is like actually it was really important to that time. Like actually I went to the coach, asked him like, hey, is there maybe like a chance getting some playing time somewhere else? And they sent me to the D-League. I played, and I found my rhythm again, had some fun, and that was like really something what saved me, because I was really frustrated in general. And
Most players don't ask to go down to the D-League, but I get it because there comes a time in the NBA where if you're not playing, you're not doing anything. You're just.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a basketball player. I want to be on the court. I want to shoot the ball. For me, like practicing is nice, but having this feeling, or even like the team spirit, playing together with somebody else, like fighting for the same dream, like winning a game, that's something I missed to that time. So for me, it was, I say like, doesn't matter where, I just need playing time. I need a ball in my hand again. I want to make some baskets, and yeah.
Yeah, the league is a lot more for the players that don't get a lot of playing time. It's all about self-discipline to be able to keep yourself in shape. You know, I mean, I remember I think I gained like 4 or 5 kilos while I was playing for Sacramento, which was like 3 months. You know, and it was because I got into the fact that, man, this is great. I'm getting paid. I do walkthroughs of the other team's offense. Every now and then, you know, we get to run the other team's offense in practice. And then in the games, like maybe I get called, maybe I don't. But I didn't really feel like, of course, I was young at the time. I didn't really feel like I needed to be prepared, you know?
And that's probably like, I think now, if I would now play NBA, I think I would be more relaxed. I was just like young. I was, young. I was 20, 25, 26. You know, I just wanted to play. I mean, I came over, I played already in Barcelona, I played in Baskonia. I was already like a player who played on the highest level in Europe. I did my thing. I know that I was like, I showed already that I'm a really good basketball player. And then I went over and I was like, please, can you sit on the bench? Like, just calm down, you know, wait for your moment. The things like always when I stepped on the court, I mean, I played a few NBA games, of course. I always scored. It was not that I didn't do my job, you know, like I was prepared, like I did my thing. I was running the place, but yeah.
So it's a different league. Sometimes that just doesn't matter, you know. It's being in the right place at the right time with the right coach and the right team and everything. Sometimes everything just has to fit. But you found something that fit in Istanbul, and you found something with. Well, first, I didn't realize this until we do a little bit. I mean, I do some research on you beforehand, and my guys that you met before, and my boys up in IMG in London, they always send me some interesting bits. And I didn't realize that you actually played for Coach Ataman in Galatasaray. Also, I had no idea that you guys were together. So, I mean, you going to Efes, did that have a lot to do with you already knowing him? And when he was at Galatasaray, was he the same as he is now? As far as like, we're gonna win the championship, we're gonna we'll get.
I mean, he was.
We'll get into that in a minute because I love it. I love to talk about it. But what was it an important part of you moving to Efes? The fact that he was there coaching. Did they have to talk you into this? Because it was really a rebuilding situation. You guys were in last place the year before.
Yeah.
Everything started. So how'd you get there?
So you want to talk now about Efes time or about the Galatasaray time?
A little bit about Galatasaray, but like what part of that experience of your life brought you to Efes?
I mean, the things like, you know, I had this NBA season, what was maybe not the one I expected to be. And then Coach Ataman called me. I mean, we had already like, not a relationship, but the things like we played already against each other in the national team. So he knew me already, like we played against each other and probably had already some respect, or he had me in his mind. And he called me to that time and say like, hey, Tibor, I know you had a tough season, but hey, if you come to me, we can do something good. You know, I give you your free time, you can play, you can do whatever you want. And I think that's what made my decision even easier. So I moved to Gala and he let me shoot. I just remember there's like one moment before in Baskonia, for example, always the coaches that told me like, hey, be under the basket. We have enough shooters. Right. But then I came to Gala and in preseason it was like, I don't know where we were, like somewhere in Turkey, and I was shooting threes. And in one preseason game, and coach said like, hey, you know, like I want you under the basket as well. I said like, hey, coach, I can shoot. I can really shoot. I'm a good shooter. It's like, yeah, but you know, like we have a lot of shooters. Like we need to. I said like, hey, coach, really, I can shoot that thing. I said, okay, go on the 3-point line and give me like 6 3-point shots in the row. If you make 6 3-point shots in the row, I give you 1 shot every game. So I went to a 3-point line and I think I made 8 in the row or 9. And then he's like, okay, hey, I told you, you have now 1 shot per game.
Wait, if you make 9, didn't you try to negotiate another shot?
I was happy about one. You know, we have to start somewhere, and then maybe like in the following like months, maybe I could negotiate maybe like 2 shots a game. But he said always like, if you make 1 shot, you can take another one.
Yeah, okay, that was my next
So
question. Okay.
yeah,
Until you go below 50%, then you have to stop shooting. You know, if you go
Right,
1, then
right.
you get another one. You go 2 for 2, then you get another one.
That was a deal.
I like that.
Then I was with Galle. Then I went to, but we didn't had the best season. We had a lot of up and downs, more downs than ups. And then I went to Valencia because I wanted to stay in the EuroLeague.
Right.
And then in Valencia, I had like a plantar fascia injury in my right foot. It was tough. Like the whole summer, I did some rehabs, and actually, like on the end of the season, end of the summer, I was healthy. And I mean, in this situation, if you have an injury, like some teams are saying like, let's wait, you know, if he's like getting like totally healthy. But Coach Ataman called me again, or contacted my agent, and he said like, hey, I want them, you know. And it's like in this situation, it's a lot of respect that he gave me like this chance in a moment where I was not 100%, where I was like still working on my comeback.
Right.
So so for me, this gave me already a good feeling that Efes would be a good option. Went to Efes.
This was when you were in Valencia. That was the year that Efes ended up in last place.
Yeah, right.
So then that's when they decided to bring in Misic, to bring in Beauvoir, to bring in Larkin, to bring in you. I think Dunstan also came with you also, right?
No, Dunstan was already there together with Kunoslav Simon, and probably like some Turkish players were there as well. I don't remember.
Tell me that I'm not wrong when I say that Simon is one of my favorite players in the entire EuroLeague.
Hey, I totally agree. For me, he's like maybe the most underrated player
in
the history of EuroLeague.
Yeah,
and he was always there. Like if you needed him, he was there. He scored sometimes like 30 points like in a second. He decided like so many games for us. He did an incredible job. Like he is a good person. Always did everything for the team. Okay, I mean, like he's lefty. That's a little bit irritating, but the rest is like totally fine.
Hey, there's gonna be some left-handed organizations out there. Like I don't know what the WLUO or something that's gonna get in touch with you about saying that. Be prepared for a Twitter attack or whatever. But wait a minute, I absolutely love the guy. Next time you see him and next time you talk to him, you better tell him to get his what on my show. Because I've tried, because I just think, like you said, he's the most underestimated player in the league, because I love the fact that you look at the guy and like you said, he could score 30 if he wants, he could stop some if he wants, but he's going to do whatever the team needs in the moment that they need him. And man, when he wasn't there this year, I was like, ooh, it's not the same team, because he's like a piece of glue, that keeps to me.
For me, I always like when I talked about him, maybe not around the players, but when I talked to my family and everything, for me, he was always like, when you have a card game, he was for me always a joker.
Yeah.
Because he's always like, when you get him and you put him on the court, he will do his job. He will do good. It's good stuff. Yeah.
I'm so glad, because I love to talk about him, because I just think he's one of my favorite players in the league.
Yeah. He's doing good.
Now, I want to go back. I definitely want to touch this year, but I want to go back to the whole process, man. What was it like? I mean, because the first year you go all the way to the finals and you lose.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's a process. I mean, everybody has to go through that sometimes. Sometimes you don't have to go through it. I went the other way. The first time I played, I won it. Then the next time I played, I lost it. You never know which way is better or worse, but that first season was a dominant season for you guys, and you lost in the finals. How difficult was that as far as the team is concerned? Because you built this team to do exactly what you did, and you did it all but the last game.
I mean, the season before, what you just mentioned, the team was on the last position. So they changed the team like from the bottom. Like they signed some new players, and what you say, like we were like built to win something. So
Right.
we started the season I felt in the first year we were kind of like the underdogs. Nobody really expected from us going to the Final Four or beating somebody in the playoffs. Of course, like we had the potential. We had so many experienced players, high quality players, and then we went to the Final Four. And I had a feeling the first year, in the first Final Four, everybody was kind of nervous.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like new thing for everybody. Of course, we were like happy that we made it on the ends to the Final Four, to the final. That was something like really special. We were already like just happy to go to the Final Four, and then we said like everything else is just like something extra. And then we made it to the final. Of course, we wanted to win, but if I compare like all the Final Fours like over the last couple of years, I can. It's so crazy. Like I said after the Final Four that as a young kid, I never really thought that I would make it to the Final Four.
Now you're comparing them.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like really, like the first one, the second one, the third one, and really like the first one was just kind of like getting used to it, to the atmosphere around. And of course, I don't want to now make big steps because we are just right now at the first Final Four. But there was like kind of like the process where everything started.
And then the following season is like the comeback season. You know, you're more motivated than ever because you got a taste of that title. You were there and you didn't get it, and then it gets shut down as you guys are dominating the season by Corona.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. I mean, in my mind, I can imagine the fact that nobody in this world knew what was going on and what we were going through at that time. But I can't imagine as a player and as a team. I mean, if you're in last place in the EuroLeague and Corona comes, you're like, all right, well, the hell with it, you know, no big deal.
Yeah.
But if you're in first place and you've done what you did the year before, what was the feeling? I mean, because you're not. I'm assuming that you weren't really together as a team either. It wasn't like you sat around together because everybody had to be in their home and isolated and everything else. But what was that feeling like as a player to be like, damn it? I mean, is this just not going to happen for us?
I can just talk from my personal view. Like some of the players, I would say like 50% of the team, they went home to their families. I was still, actually like the whole pandemic time, I was still in Istanbul like for another 4 months because they say like, hey, maybe we will start the season over if everything is like, nobody knew how long it would take.
Right.
So we thought like maybe, okay, if everything is like calming down, we would maybe be able to finish the season, the EuroLeague season.
Right.
So of course, like I had like two sides, like, or 2 points. Like first point was that I didn't want to bring my parents in danger because if I go home, I would probably like stay with my parents, and I didn't want to bring anything home on the flight or from Istanbul.
Right.
So I was staying there, and the second point was that I still had the chance in Istanbul to practice. So I practiced like every day really hard. I remember that we were not able to practice like on one basket. We were just allowed to have like one basket and one coach. But we were like, I remember that me and Brian, sometimes we were in the same group. So he practiced on one court, I practiced on the other court, and we were like running up and down, sprinting, hustling, because we thought like, hey, if we continue with the season, we are ready. Maybe some other teams are not, but we are prepared.
Right.
So we just hoped that we would continue because it was like a long fight. I mean, we worked the whole season like really hard to be at this point, being on the first place. I think we just lost, one game till that.
You were 20. I think you were 24-4 at the time.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
20. Yeah.
So
your record at the time when COVID hit, and there was like
4 games
season. Yeah.
So we just thought like, hey, this season's different. You know, we're in a great shape. We have to continue. So everybody's tried to stay in shape, and then of course like when they decided like not to continue the season anymore was kind of like a hit because we all had the feeling like somebody took something from us.
Yeah.
The chance to win the title, to actually like not fix what we couldn't do in the year before, but because now we thought like now we are ready to win the title.
Yeah, I like the way you said that. It's like somebody took something from us. You know,
Yeah, it's
it,
like stealing.
yeah, it's one thing if you lose a game and you compete for the final. It's another thing if you just don't, it's just taken from you. That's a hard feeling. The the following year comes and you get a what happened to your foot? You had a was that wasn't your fasciitis, was it? Then you were injured that following year, right? With your foot injury.
In the final four, there was actually I had Corona. I had the virus, so I was out for. I think I had to go in quarantine for was like 10 days, and then I was able to do some tests. So I was out. I joined the team after 2 weeks, and then we had 2 double weeks right away. So we had 6 games in 2 weeks, and actually I was on the court right away, and I think that was too much too fast because for 2 weeks, I mean, my body was shut down. Nobody knew how to react in this situation, what's to do, just laying down, or are you able to work out a little bit. So we for this 10 days I tried to move as I didn't try to move at all. I was on my couch, I was reading, I was watching movies because I thought I don't want to risk any I didn't want to bring my body in danger for the future. So I just really tried to rest. And then this 2 double weeks, I think was too much, too quick.
Jump back.
And then I had what was it? God, I still try to push it away because I was I don't like to think so much about injuries, but I think it was a stress fracture, or close to a stress fracture.
Yeah, that was in the beginning that was 2021, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right after Corona.
And then you had not a tough time coming back, but whenever we're hurt as athletes, you see players that suddenly started to play well while in your absence, and Dunstan, of course, Dunstan's pretty consistent all the time, so it had to be a little bit frustrating for you to try to come back from that also as the team is playing again to fight for another title.
Not really. I was supporting my teammates. I mean, to that time, it was already our third year together. It was like a family for me. So for me, I was in general this kind of team. I didn't have it so many times. In the past, I played for some teams where we had some problems. Sometimes or not problems, but the friendship between players on your position is sometimes tough. You're fighting for the starting position, but in this team. For me, I was always happy when when Sandy played. He didn't play it so much in the years before.
Right.
Brian did his thing. I was really proud, and I tried to support them as much as I could. Sometimes I was on the side and I said hey, maybe you can play here. You can maybe bump there, and this opponent he's a good shooter. We talked to each other, so for me, I was not mad or or stressed. I was just working on my comeback. I mean, I was to that time already. I was probably 30 years old, so I had already a lot of experience. For me, was not. I just tried to support my team as best as I could.
What was that feeling when you heard that the Final Four was in Cologne, in your hometown?
And that's so happy.
You've had one where you were beaten, as you said, number 2 was taken from you, and number 3 they say we're going to go Final Four in Cologne, Germany.
Actually, I was so scared because when they say we are not playing the season, when they took it from us, it was planned already in this year that we would play the Final Four in Cologne. So I thought hey, that's somebody took something from us, And then I just hope hey, where are they playing the Final Four now next year? Maybe somewhere else, maybe Cologne is not possible. I have no idea. And then when they mentioned the Final Four will be in Cologne, I was hey, I just hope that till to that point. Visitors and fans are allowed again, but it didn't happen.
That had to be that's bittersweet almost. You do it in your home court, but maybe it's even better when you really think about it because you don't have 20, 30 people knocking on your door for tickets.
That's true. Hey, so many asked me already the year before. From the beginning of the season, they asked me hey, I need I have to come and my girlfriend as well, and you have some friends. So
you start finding out about all these second cousins that you've had that you've never seen them before,
right.
And now you win that Final Four, and I'm going to get into this because it has a lot to do with what you just said. You're the ultimate teammate, so to speak, in the fact that even when you're hurt or even when you're not playing, you're out there helping everybody. You didn't get on the court in I believe the semifinal game, right, against Jessica in Cologne, and in the final game you played a little bit more, but 5 points, 3 rebounds, and a good game, decent game. Did you feel like you needed to be a bigger part of the team in that, or just didn't really matter at that point? You're just enjoying
Hey,
it.
it didn't matter at all. Like, I just wanted to win the Final Four, and I wanted to win it now. I wanted to win it in Cologne. I mean, the semifinal, I played 0 minutes. I didn't play it at all.
But what's
And
going through your mind when you don't get on the court? Really, when you're like, damn, it's been 3 years, I'm back again, and I'm not on the court. Come on, man, you're an athlete. You have
hey, I was an athlete. But I mean, the way, I knew already that I did my part as well. I mean, to the beginning of the season, I had some good games as well. I played good. And I thought, like, now it doesn't care. I mean, of course, I wanted to be on the court, but on the other way, I wanted to win the championship as well. I mean, like, the year before, they took it from us. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, or something took it from us. And in Baskonia, we were so close. So I told myself, like, hey, I don't care who's playing. I just want to go out here. I want to leave, and I want to have the cup. I want to hold the cup in my hand. So that didn't really matter. And of course, like, then in the final, I got my minutes, and I was just happy. I mean, even like in Baskonia, I scored 0 points. I wasn't on the court that much, so I thought, like, hey, I don't care if you get a shot, I will take that shot. And then I did some important stuff. Then I got hurt. I had like my muscle. I don't know what happened. Like, I had a thing. I got a hit in my muscle, and then like a few seconds later, it happened. And but I was happy. Like, I went to the locker room. I think it was like then halftime. They tried to give me like some injections, some painkillers to maybe like make it possible that I'm getting better on the court. And then I just found out for myself, like, hey, it's not working. And then it was like sitting behind the bench, celebrating like every basket we made, and some like physiotherapists came to me and some players, and I said, like, hey, you did great. You pushed us back into the game. You did your job. And that's it. I think that's what I thought in the end as well. Like, I did my job, and we won it.
What and what, man? I mean, what kind of relief was that? I was unfortunate at that point to not be able to commentate the games because of COVID, because of people from London couldn't come to Germany. But I was there, so I got to do the courtside commentating and the questions, which I really love to do, because especially when it's all done and over with. And I remember being down there with you guys, man, with Shane and with Misic and you, and I get along with a lot of you guys from the team. So it was like an exhilarating feeling for me to not, I mean, obviously I'm not a part of what you guys had been through for the 3 years, but you, as an ex-athlete, you realize what it takes to win that championship. For you guys, it was literally 3 complete seasons to get that one under you, with the COVID in the middle, which makes it even different. So explain to me what it was like in your hometown, even though you say your parents were way up high, there weren't many fans there. You're not even thinking about that once you're raising that trophy. That's not even in the back of your mind.
No. Actually, like, game was over. We just like ran everybody was like running on the court. I was not even running. I was like more jumping on my left foot to follow my guys. That was like actually like the only thing that hurt, like that I was not able to really like jump around and show my emotions, because I was like the whole time thinking like, hey, please, Tibor, stop yourself. Don't go too crazy. Don't jump on somebody else's like foot and then like injure your left leg as well, and then you're out. Then you're on the floor. I was just like so happy that it happened. Of course, like in my Cologne, I'm still like I can still realize it. I mean, it's now like 1 year in the books.
Right.
There's like another season in between
and another title.
But in another title, it's still unreal. Because what do you say? Like, how much energy it takes, how much sweat, how many like sacrifices to get to this point, to go to the Final Four, winning like with all the pressure in the semifinal, then making the final, takes so much. So it was like so many emotions, so much you put in there. So it's, for me, it's still unreal. I can't explain it.
I described it at one point when I was on the floor with you guys. I looked around and I felt like I saw like, well, I mean, all the people that I know that played, like the guys in uniform and the coaches and everything else. It looked like I saw like 15 people walking around like they didn't realize what just happened. You know, it was like you guys had that look in your face, like, "Oh my God, really? Are you?" And it was a great feeling because you realize how long it took you guys to get there and to win it. And, and it was fun to be on the floor with
and every second is like so slow. I just remember I just skipped and I go now a little bit forward, like actually like a 1 year. Now the semifinal when Vasa made this 3-point shot in the last second, I was just like, I knew already it's like just like few seconds left, and he made the shot and I was like, okay, now for sure they're like 5 or maybe 10 seconds left, but the game was over. I was like, I turned to the other bench. I was like, what is happening right now? Are we done, or do we have still some seconds to play? And then I was like, okay. And then I was like jumping up. But something really in the game, there's like so much like, I don't know. It's tough to explain that feeling.
Yeah, it's different when you're in the game. You have no idea. Like, when you look back and watch them too, you're like, really, that happened? I don't remember that happening. You know.
Yeah.
Let's finish up now with this year, because now of course everybody's talking back to back, you know, and you guys start 0-4, 0-5. Come on, that was hilarious. I'm sitting there going, no, there's no way that this could be happening. There's no way that, because one thing is like having the hangover the next season. The other thing is like kind of battling your way through the season. I'm looking like Efes is in last place with 0 wins.
Yeah. What's
going on in the locker room?
Hey, we had so many like team meetings you can imagine, like just between the players. I just remember, I think to the beginning of the season we lost against in Panathinaikos, and I just remember that like the faces of all my teammates were like sitting, head down, frustrated, because we just thought like, what just happened? You know, like that's not what happened the season before, the season like, or even like 2 seasons before that, we lost the control and that we lost this kind of games. So we were frustrated. We had then the coach came in, had his speech, left, and said like, everybody said like, hey, we have to talk. You know, we have to talk about the situation right now. And we had this like few times during the season that we came together and we said like, hey, we have to find a solution. We have to find something to fix the problem right now. I mean, last year we won the year before. Last year we won the Final Four. And maybe we thought it would be easier because we were like successful, we won something, maybe it would give us like this extra push for the upcoming season. And then we started and it didn't work out how we thought it would be. And it was not easy. It was really like not easy. We thought like, oh, this season maybe would be totally different. Of course, we knew already like, okay, we have a cup, you know, that's nice. We made already history. But this tough beginning, then we lost against a lot of teams, like where we won actually like the year before we would win like easily. Just tough to handle it.
To me, my thought process was too, like, because so many people talked about after the 3-year run with the one title that a lot of people were going to leave and move on to, you know, whatever else, and you guys all decided to stick together. You know,
a lot of people talked about our players, you know, so like, hey, this guy is getting old, this guy is a little bit burned out, maybe he should leave. Like everybody was like complaining about every single player. It's like, this guy is not doing a good job. And I got messages as well, you know, they said like, hey, you have to take more responsibilities, and you know, last year we were injured, now we need more from you. There were like so many like people were talking from all the sides, and they lost a little bit, like a lot of people like maybe lost a little bit like the trust in us, but that, I had a feeling like that pushed us. Like, I mean, we have a really we have a really like experienced team, and we know already that we can trust each other. I think that made it like on the end.
When well, when the Russian teams were eliminated from the competition, do you
Mhm.
remember that moment? Do you remember where you guys stood in the standings? Because you guys were like kind of battling still for playoff spot at that point, and I
I think
don't.
we were like on the ninth position or 10th position to that time. Yeah.
And I think that boosted you guys up a little bit. Did that give you some sort of like thought, like, okay, let's take advantage of this moment, and I mean, or at that point, it was just like, guys, we got to get in the playoffs. We can't have the last 3 years that we had be defending champions and not make the playoffs.
I'm not sure if it gave us a boost, because it was not that from the beginning, when we lost some games, that we gave up, or that we say like, hey, now this season is maybe like, I say like in a bad way, but fucked up, like we just have to leave it behind us. We have to keep going and making the best out of it. Actually, like for me personal wise, like it didn't get a push because I try every game to give my best. So I think maybe it was good for us on the end, like because then we stepped up to a playoff position. But I think every player was like focused, like from the beginning. I mean, it was not that to the beginning of the season we said like, okay, now we lost 3 games, now we give up, and that's it. Like we really wanted to win. We wanted to be on the higher playoff position. Like actually, our goal was from the beginning we wanted to have the home court advantage to the beginning. So that was not the goal that we would like that it would be that close.
So you didn't get the home court, but you had to go to Armani and
Yeah,
and
nice city.
to win on the road, which is, sometimes it's a better way to do it. You win that first game, you put a little bit more pressure on the team that was ahead. But so many people remember your final game, but they forget about the fourth game. I think, was it the fourth game or the third game of the
fourth game.
game? You went crazy. You went
Mhm.
crazy against Milan. I mean, it's just you're not. That's not expected from you, is what I want to say. It's not that I'm saying that you can't do that, because obviously you're capable of doing what you've done. And that's a funny thing about this game nowadays, is like you never know who's going to beat you in a game. And I mean, you had I think it might have been your all-time high point index rating of 37, but you had 25 points and 6 rebounds, and I mean, you knocking down threes and everything. And you just took over that game. What again? I keep using the same question, man. Like, as a big man, you stepped outside, you went inside, you got some fast break points. People started depending on you. They started looking for you. What's that feel like as a guy that's not Shane Larkin? You're not Mises. You're not you're not those guys that are expected to score, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 it hits.
I mean, you just say like that. Probably I hear these questions a lot, and I can just give you the same answer I gave to a lot of people. That I just try to do my job. I mean, like I'm capable. What you say, like I'm capable of shooting from outside. I'm capable of having like good games. But of course, like you have to understand, like we played against the best defensive team of the whole season, Milano. We were actually like I think one of the best offensive teams of the season. So they knew already, or they tried to defend the basket as best as possible, and everybody knew already. Like Shane is a scorer, Vasa is one of our best scorers. So they tried to take these 2 guys out of the game, and so they had to find like a different option, and so they found me. And I just got the ball and put the ball into the basket. It was like easy like that. I just tried to do my job. I was open. I trusted in my shot as well. And yeah, the rest is history.
No, the rest isn't history, because then you get to the championship game against Real.
There was another one. Yeah, it was a similar situation.
And I tell you what, when I was commentating that game, I said at halftime, I'm like, look at. I said, Efes just doesn't look like Efes. And I remembered, the 5-game series that you guys had against Real Madrid the year before, where you guys dominated Real Madrid throughout that season. But the last 3 games of that playoff, they threw some defenses at you that you guys weren't used to, and didn't work out well. And it seemed like that kind of game again. And my comment at halftime was, this team needs to find somebody that's not named Larkin or not named Misic, to step up. And I don't know who it's going to be, but it's going to have to be somebody. And it ended up being you. You ended up scoring 17 points in that second half. Where did that come? Did you feel like did it just come to you, or did you feel like, man, like somebody needs to help these guys out? I need to do something, because you had some. I mean, you had some. And we'll talk about baskets in a minute, man. You had me jumping out of my seat.
I mean, now we are making like a little step back, because now I'm going to the first Final Four in Baskonia, where everything started. I told you, like, I can talk about myself that I was like a little bit nervous in the first Final Four. It was new, a new atmosphere for me. I had to build like a new routine, because you had less time sometimes to prepare yourself. Like sometimes it was we were just able to practice like in 30 minutes, because then like the next team was like waiting in front of the door to do their shooting practice. So that's where everything began, actually. And then I didn't score at all. I was nervous, and I tried to do my best, but it didn't really work out, because I was a lot in my head too. Like I was thinking a lot, like I have to do this,
Okay.
I have to give my team even more. I have to give now 200%. But sometimes like when you're thinking so much, it doesn't work, because then like your mind is like just too full to really be concentrated and be on the court to 100%. Then the second Final Four came in Cologne, where I was better prepared, because I knew already like how the surrounding was working and how everything is. Right. So I felt more comfortable. So I stepped, for example, on the court in the final game, and I felt like, hey, just take it how it comes. Like when you're open, take the shot, and basketball can be so easy. So I took the shot, I took the mid-range shot, had 5 points, some rebounds. Everything was cool. I didn't put myself under pressure, because before the games I didn't play at all. So I say like, hey, I'm just happy being on the court. I try to do my best, right, and that's it. And then see what's coming out. And now we're at the third Final Four. The thing is, like, I knew already, like, hey, I know that they're like agents, that they're like scouts, whatever. Like everybody's in the lobby, everybody's talking, you're meeting friends. Yeah. I knew already like how it is, how it's working, and
been there.
I knew you've been there. Like, hey, I mean, there's like so much going around. It's not just basketball, like friends are coming. There are like some general managers from all teams. You have to say hello and just like introduce yourself to some people. There's like so much around. Then you have like interviews before the game. I knew already like what's coming.
People like me bothering you before games, like.
For example, yeah, this is happening too. Like, hey, they want to have some interviews. I'm telling you, like, hey, wait till after the game. But no, they want to know, how do you feel like after the semifinal? Then like after the semifinal, we were waiting in the lobby, watching the game on TV, waiting for like which team are we playing tomorrow. Then you have to prepare yourself. Right. Like not like normally like during the season you have like 1-2 days to prepare yourself for the opponent team. Then you have just like half day. Like actually like just 1 day. In the evening you realize like which team are you playing. Yeah. Okay. I mean, and then like 1 day like like you have to prepare yourself. And so when I stepped on the court already, like in the semifinal, I was like, hey, I don't have to score, I just do my job. I know how to play defense. I try to stop them. I try to put my focus more on my defense, stopping them. I knew already like there's Vasa who's scoring, there's like Shane who's scoring, and I just try to help my team as best as possible. So in the semifinal was the same thing. I didn't push myself to score at all. I was just like, okay, I'm here, and when I'm open, I take the shot. If not, hey, I don't care. I'm happy when somebody's scoring 20 points and like somebody's 30 points. Like during a season, you care more about like, okay, now I didn't score that much, or I missed this shot. Hey, in the semifinal or in the final, it doesn't care. Like I don't care at all. Right. It's like more about the ball's in, you're leading, and we have to win. Doesn't matter what. Like there's not like, hey, if I'm having like less points, I feel uncomfortable or I'm sad, whatever. It's more if you're winning or losing. It's like a do or die game. You have just like these two options. So semi-final was over. Final was it began. For example, in the first year in Baskonia, I watched the show before post-game show, like DJs, whatever.
But
Was nice because I thought like maybe I'm here just like one time now, so I have to take with me
Take it all
everything
in.
what I get. Yeah, I take everything. So I watched it. I just tried to enjoy it as much as I can because I thought like maybe it's like the only time that I'm here.
Yeah.
But it was my third time, so I didn't watch anything at all. I saw there were like some DJs coming down, but I did just what I did like every game. I did my my routine. I was like heading forward. I was trying to prepare myself. I know like, hey, here Tavares, here you have to stay a little higher, push him out. Like Lou is a good shooter, so stay a little bit higher, put your hand up. I was thinking about this kind of like game things, but I didn't watch in the crowd. Crowd was not important, was there, but nice atmosphere, better than the year before. But for me, I was focused. So I told myself like in the first half, I think I scored maybe like 2 points. I don't know, 2 points, 2 points. And I was like, hey, I'm fine with it. Like we are like, it's tight game, all good, all good. And then just like, what do you say? Like in the final was in the second half, they defended Vasa pretty good when he went to the basket. Like 3 guys were like on him like right away. They shut down the basket for him. It was not easy for him to go into the basket. Shane, like when he wanted to take a shot, there were like always somebody like taller than him, protected the rim and protected him from shooting the 3. And yeah, the ball came to me. I took the shot, felt comfortable. But hey, sometimes it's crazy. Like, I mean, I'm now 32 years old. I play this sport since 16 years. And I worked on some shots in the past. Like, for example, like shot fake, 1 dribble, shot. I never took it during the season. Like sometimes, like now things, I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but
You play basketball as well.
wait, because I know where you're going. And my question is going to be, and I knew it was going to be this, because a lot of people talk about you getting dunked on by Poirier, and then coming back in the follow-up dunk that you had, on the basketball. But what's the one play that you remember in that, like of the ones you scored? Because the one you're talking about right now is the one that I was just like, what?
Yeah, huh? It just came. I mean, I didn't plan anything. I was, okay, let's talk about the dunk first. Dunk was nice. Like, I tried to go, like, for the dunk. He blocked me. Was kind of like, oh, okay. I was too slow. I thought I was easily, he came from the side, blocked my shot. And I was like, fuck, okay, it's okay, but let's keep going, Maybe there's like a different situation where I can maybe do payback or, hey, sometimes it's happening, Like, he just stopped me from making 2 points. Maybe in the next situation, in the next offense, I have a chance to make 3 points. So it's all good. Everything, we were fine. Next situation, I think I made like a tip in or a layup.
Yeah.
2 points. So I said like, okay, here now we are even. I made 2 points. We played a good season in the back in the defense. Everything was fine. And then the situation where the dunk came up. Like, he passed me the ball. I dunked the ball. He was like somewhere like between my arms, and I was like, okay, now we're not even. Now I'm like, okay, like it was like really good feeling. I was a little bit emotional. Everybody talked me after that, like, hey, it was a foul. But actually, like, I was hitting the floor because he pushed me like outside the court. I was slapping the floor, and a lot of people thought that I was doing this because I didn't got a foul, so I was mad.
Yeah.
But it was actually just because I was like, yes. It was like emotional. Damn. Okay, here we are.
Well, because you're pretty much an emotionalist player. You're pretty much under control most of the time. I mean, that it has to be a different situation for you to be like have that huge smile, that celebration. But
actually, I was like a different player in the past. In the past, I was sometimes like screaming when I blocked somebody. I was like, yeah, or I dunked on somebody. I was like screaming around and was like, yo. I hope you realize what I just did to you. No, I'm just joking. But this kind of stuff, no, actually, I was not facing the player. I was just like emotional.
But I love that. I love that stuff.
But it changed. The things like I realized by age that this screaming takes so much energy from you in general, like emotions, like emotions like hitting you on the floor. If you're making a bad shot, for me, it's not really hitting me. I'm just saying like, hey, next play, let's go now in defense. If I'm making good shots too, like, okay, nice, let's go, keep going. It's just like 2 points. Now we are getting closer. I'm not really, I'm an emotional guy, but I keep my emotions like under control because it takes a lot of energy as well and can kick you out of your focus and your concentration.
Look, I've been on this thing for an hour. I've been working on it for about 3 days to do this with you. And I'm finally at the point where I wanted to hear about this shot. Was it Fab? Was it Corsair that came flying at you, or was it Rudy? I don't remember.
I think it was Rudy. I'm not sure. Actually, there's another thing. Like, okay, I mean, let's talk about the shot first.
Please, this is all I've been waiting for. It made me jump out of my seat. I was just like, what? Who is that guy?
But it was like, I felt so automatic. Like, it was not like that I was thinking sometimes, like in the last couple of years, because I have so much experience now, that sometimes I have a feeling I'm like I'm sitting in the stands. I'm just watching myself playing basketball.
Right.
Because I'm not. I don't have to do so much. Like I'm like even like the shot. I'm not thinking like, oh, here, hand here, whatever. I'm just doing it like out of like, it's like kind of like a reflex. Like I'm just like reacting from the situation, the things I can score with the left, I can score with the right. It's just coming up sometimes like shot like here, shot like there. And I'm like, hey, where is this coming from now? And it was the same.
That's defined, number one, by experience. I'm going to give you the good news. That's defined by experience. Number two, that means you're getting old also.
If it's going like that way, I'm fine with this. No, the shot, hey, I got the ball. I just like, I saw like, I wanted to shoot. I saw like Rudy flying by. I was like, hey, have a good flight, have a good takeoff. Took a step, like, I don't know, just a little dribble and just took the shot.
It was so smooth. And I mean, you definitely didn't look like you're 7'3", you know what I mean? And it just made me jump out of my seat. I'm like, what? Because I've seen you do that from the 3-point line before. But a lot of people don't realize that it's a little bit different from the 3-point line, because usually at the 3-point line, you got people flying by you where you have the time. Where this was just like, boom, that one step in. And it makes it a more difficult shot because you were at that angle also where you like, I could think backward. I could think, there's so much in that shot that to me excited me because of the fact that it was done by you, where no one really expected that shot from me. I thought it was the best play of the game. I thought it won the game. As far as
nobody was talking about. Everybody was talking about the dunk, but yeah, I agree. It was like one of the things. Like sometimes I have to say, like I wouldn't like to play against myself. Because really, like, I'm surprising myself sometimes as well, because you never know what's coming. Hey, it can be a left hook shot, can be a right hook shot, can be a 3-point shot, can be a mid-range shot, can be like this, shot fake, one dribble shot. Hey, there is something like surprising me every time, and for probably like the opponent as well.
I want to go real quick over the last minute of the game. There's a lot of things said and talked about over some of the decisions in the last minute of the game. From the Efes side of things, what was going on in your mind as a player? There's 40-something seconds left. You know that there's 2 fouls to give still for Real Madrid. And then you guys get to the point where there was 17-point-something seconds left and they decided to play defense. What were you guys thinking?
Actually, I was not thinking so much because I thought maybe they would foul. They didn't. I just heard that Pablo say like, I think like don't foul. We will have enough time to shoot the ball. Don't do it. That's what I heard like behind me. The things I was still like so focused. I told you like now we are getting to this thing again that I thought like, hey, there's still so much time. So when the game was over, I was still like, oh, nice. And we won. And then the celebration hit me. But
in the timeout beforehand, when Madrid only had 2 team fouls, did you guys talk about the fact that they were either going to try to trap and foul quickly? Or did you feel like they were maybe going to try to play straight up defense and try to get them? Because it was a 1-point game. And once you play a long thing of defense, you run the risk of committing that foul at the end of the, at the end of the shot clock and losing all that time. So, because in my mind, I thought they were going to foul quickly, and I don't know what you guys were planning.
Actually, to be honest, now we're coming to one thing I wanted to mention like before. Um, I don't remember all the situations on the court. No, hey, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. No, hey, I wanted to mention this too. Actually, I'm planning tomorrow to watch a final game with my parents and some of my friends again
No way.
because I'm not joking because I started watching it like during the Turkish playoffs because I mean of course I saw the dunk many times on highlights or in some clips, but for me it was like so much emotions and I have a feeling like I was not thinking at all. Like you saw me like after the game, we talked to each other. I was completely done. I was so tired. Like later I was in the mix zone. I couldn't stay anymore. I was like sometimes like on my like with my hands on my legs because I put like all the effort, all my last energy into this game. I remember in the third quarter I was tired. I was about to say like, hey coach, maybe give me a little like break, but I knew already like how important I am for the team in this moment. So I said like, hey, there is no time to rest now. Like it's right now the most important time of the season. Give yourself, like push yourself. So really, like when the game was over, I was just so completely tired. I was not thinking so much about like I just heard like the coach that he said like, hey, like we will have like the players say like, hey, should we foul or should we not foul? And they said like, hey, no, we have enough time to take another shot. And I mean, of course,
you sound like you feel bad that you don't remember the final situations and whatever, but I know exactly the way you feel because I mean, not now at 56, but there was times where people ask me, do you remember? Like, no, I don't remember that. Then you go back and see it and you're like, what? When did that happen? So I know exactly where you're coming from. It was
actually you say like I have 17 points in the second half, Hey, I remember the dunk because I saw the dunk in the highlights. I remember the shot, just like a little bit feeling that he passed me. The rest, I don't know. I had like one tip.
Yeah. Doesn't that make you laugh when like you see some of these guys that play and they walk out of the game and they're like, yeah, man, I had 17 points, 4 rebounds. I'm like, how did you keep your stats during the game?
Hey, really, like, hey, I'm a person, like, even like during a season, I don't check the stats at all. I don't know how many points I play, how many minutes I played, how many points I scored during the season. Sometimes I see it, after the season, they post sometimes like some stuff. But hey, I don't care. Like really, I'm in this, I don't know, maybe not on this age, but I'm on this level that for me, or like, it's my teammates, I don't compare myself to somebody else. Like when I was younger, of course, like after the season, I checked like, okay, I had 10 points. Okay, now I will be fine for the next year, maybe like a contract, whatever. But hey, I don't care so much. Like I was more caring that we won, that we had a good time together, and we were successful. That's our hard work over the whole year paid off. That was for me more important than like, okay, I had like this kind of blocks. I had here some rebounds.
Was it? Did you feel in the beginning of the season? I want to go back to the beginning real quick. When Sertek went to Barcelona, did you feel like that was a moment for you to step up, have a little bit more responsibility? Did that go through your mind? Because obviously it worked out in the long run, but did it change your game plan throughout the season?
Not at all, because I mean, like a lot of like in the EuroLeague Media Day, a lot of people asked me that questions, and things like everybody. I had a feeling like people forgot already like the seasons I played before. I mean, everybody said like, of course, like was talking about Sertac, and I mean, Sertac had a great season like the year before when we won the first final. He was really important for us. He pushed himself like to the limit. He did a great job, and I was really happy for him. But I mean, like in the year before when we broke up, I had like maybe like one of the best seasons I had before. I mean, Brian got injured, I remember to that time, so I had to take more responsibilities. But even like to that time already, I played like Turkish League, I played EuroLeague, and I had almost every game around like 12 points, So I stood already like before. Of course, I had this like injury season, but I knew already like what I was able to do, and if Sergio was there or not. Things like that's my game. That's how I play basketball.
The fact that this back-to-back titles, you talked about how important that first one was, and but I think that you guys should almost appreciate the second one more, because the battle, the fight, the ability to survive and to win a game that was a survival of the best game, because that was not the best basketball final or best basketball game anybody's ever seen by any means, but it was a matter of survival. Which one feels better? I mean, because you have 3 years of fighting for one, and then you have 1 year of like just clawing and scratching and just to get there, just to get into the playoffs, number one, then to get to the Final Four, and then to get to the championship. Which one feels better, or are they on the same, pretty much same page?
I mean, like both games or both Final Four, both titles had their special moments. I mean, like last year when we played against Barca in the final, we were like down by a few points, you know, and then we were like hustling back. It was like a special moment for me. Personal was a special moment because I gave effort and I helped my team coming back. But of course, like comparing it, like a lot of fans, there's like pressure too, you know. When we played against Olympiacos, we didn't play against like 5 players on the court and the rest of the 7 on the bench. No, we played like against 6 players on the court because of the fans, where they're like crazy. Like the atmosphere were like incredible. Like we stepped on the court for warm up, the whole arena was like booing us out, and actually I liked it. I think a lot of players of us liked, because that's why you play this moment. Actually, like it pushed us to. Sorry to say it like to the fans.
I couldn't
really
wait
nice
to go play those games. I
Yeah,
couldn't wait to be on the road. I always felt like
because
that was the best
that's
way
why you
to be.
play it. Like that's like pushing you. Even it's like feels really good. Like when you
Yeah.
have this atmosphere, and yeah, then winning. And of course, like in the final was still like similar. There were like still a lot of Olympiacos fans, and they were probably like not so happy that we beat them like before in the semifinal.
Yeah.
But the arena was still full, and still, I mean, another really game with an amazing atmosphere.
It was incredible Final Four, just with everything that happened and the fans being back. It was awesome. But I'm done with this
Yeah.
part of it. Now we got to do the test real quick, and you're out. And it's vacation time. You know what our test, right? Our EuroLeague test.
No, let's do it.
I got 5 questions. Each question goes up by 10 points. Number one's worth 10, 2 verse 20, 2, 3 worth 30.
I'm not prepared.
They supposedly get tougher, but I'm going to tell you something. I got a feeling that they gave you a chance to beat our best guys. All right, we got.
I'm already in vacation mode. I don't know if I can do it.
First place with 100 points. 3-way tie for first place between Meli, Yabusele, and Kevin Punter. All right. Then you got Mike James right behind them at 80 points. You got a chance here, my man. I'm gonna tell you right now. You ready? This is it. The EuroLeague crossover test. Who won? This one's worth 10 points. Who won the 3rd place game of the 2022 Final Four?
That was Barcelona.
Damn, 10 points. Good job. I really thought that you might miss that. I really thought I was
like few days ago I talked with somebody about it. That's
okay. I was like, that's a trick question, because as a player, if you're focused on the final, you don't even care about what happened in other games.
I totally agree.
All right, number 2, worth 20 points. In which position in the standings did AS Monaco finish during the regular season?
Seventh position?
Yeah, there you go. Good job. 7th position. I was wondering if you're going to get that or not. That was a tough one. Good job.
They played against Madrid, right? They played against Madrid.
No, they played Olympiacos.
Olympiacos, yes. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Mike James.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
I was wondering if you were going to remember that game 5 with Olympiacos, and that was going to be.
Hey, for me the season is over already. Yeah, so I'm just kidding.
All right, let's see if you can get this one. Who won the 7 days magic moment of the year? Worth 30 points. You were in the crowd when I gave the award.
I go with Micic. I have no idea, really.
No, Kostas Lucas with his game winner against Efes.
Oh, yes! Oh god, okay. You can take the points. Oh gosh, yeah, true. The last second from the corner.
Exactly.
God, that was painful. Probably I tried to forget this moment. So
yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying. I figured out that you were probably trying to forget that moment. You still have a chance. You're at 30. You're at 30 points. You have 90 to play. You have 40 on this one. How many seasons has?
Okay.
How many
Say
seasons?
it again.
How many seasons has Sardas Jasikevičius been coaching as a head coach in the EuroLeague?
Okay, I think it will be around like 4 or 5. I mean, he was in Barca now. It was like 2 years. And before Carlos, it's 4 or 5, I think.
You missed by 1, man. It was 6.
Was 6?
6 seasons.
So he was 4 seasons in Kaunas.
He's been coaching from 2016-17 to this current season.
Damn. Okay, there's no time for the record anymore. It's over.
Number
But it's
5
okay.
50.
I want it
At
back
least
to back. That's okay.
At least hey, you're going to be able to use that for the rest of your life. I'm a back-to-back champion, so I don't care about that question.
That's okay. I don't care about the rest.
Let me see how much knowledge you have of your own team. This is the 50-point question. This is why I thought you had a chance to win this thing. How many games did Anadolu Efes Istanbul lose during the 2020-2021 regular season?
So that was our Corona year, huh?
No, that was the year
Was
before,
that
right? Well, the bad news is you're only going to get 30 points in this test.
That's a back to back. You know.
You guys lost.
That's that's fine. That's fine.
You guys lost 12. You guys
12?
lost 12 this season, yeah.
And we ended up at the cup, right?
Exactly. That's all that matters.
So hey, here. I don't care. I just dropped my AirPods on purpose.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you so much for being so open and honest with us about everything and your generosity and you're just one of those people that I think everybody likes to cheer for regardless. And yeah, back to back is going to be your motto from now on. And every one of you guys on that bench from the top to the bottom deserve everything that you guys have been through, man. And have a great summer. Have a great vacation. I didn't ask you where you're going to be next year because I know that's kind of up in the air right now. We'll leave that one.
Inshallah.
For you to enjoy the summer, my man. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you being on the crossover. And the only job you have left for me is to get me Krunasov Simone on my show. That's the only thing I'm going to leave you.
That's a deal. That's a deal.
My man, thank you very much. Have a great summer.
Thank you so much. Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye, man.